Yes. Qualifying day. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, Russell. Yes. Hello and a big welcome to the channel. I'm the Motorsport Madman and this is qualifying ahead of the 2022 Belgian Grand Prix. Formula One's back. I'm back. We're back on the real content of the channel. I cannot wait. If you are a Formula One fan, you've got to get yourself subscribed. I'm live for every single qualifying and every single Grand Prix from the Formula One World Championship. Summer break's over. It's been a long month. It has been a long August summer break, but finally we're back with some meaningful action. And yes, as we go live right now, I'm seeing that the start of qualifying will be delayed due to track repairs. There must have been an incident in Formula 2 or one of the other support races, but yeah, they're repairing the barrier, so I don't know how long the delay is going to be. I imagine 5-10 minutes. It shouldn't be that long of a delay to qualifying, but yeah, this is the situation. And qualifying is going to be weird today. Qualifying is going to be a strange situation because we have got, and I have had to get the pen and paper out for this, we have got many drivers on grid penalties. So whatever the order is in qualifying isn't going to be the order come the Grand Prix tomorrow. We've got Valtteri Bottas with a 25 grid penalty. This is all drivers taking brand new engines and brand new engine components, so there's a lot of grid penalties, so it's going to be confusing. I'll try and keep you updated. So you know, we could have a situation where Verstappen is quickest, but he won't start from pole position tomorrow. Neither will Leclerc, neither will Norris, neither will Ocon, neither will Schumacher, neither will Zhou Guanyu and Valtteri Bottas. Now those drivers all with heavy grid penalties. So how it's going to play out, I do not know. All I know is that probably the back 7 or 8 positions on the grid is going to be Bottas, Verstappen, Leclerc, Norris, Ocon, Schumacher, Zhou Guanyu. They're all the guys with the big grid penalties. So basically the big names there is Verstappen and Leclerc will both be starting from towards the back of the grid. You know, that's the big thing going into qualifying. Verstappen and Leclerc will be towards the back with Norris, Ocon, Schumacher, Zhou and Bottas. So it is going to be confusing because especially if Verstappen or Leclerc bang it on pole, they ain't going to be on pole. So big opportunity for Sergio Perez, big opportunity for Carlos Sainz, and a huge opportunity for the Mercedes boys. A big race for Mercedes this, and probably the best chance they're going to get at winning a Grand Prix this season, with Leclerc and Verstappen, as I say, starting from towards the back of the grid. But yes, who have we got in chat then? It's Carl's in. Welcome to the stream, Carl. Ernesto, welcome in. Chris Poundcoin as well. Welcome to the stream. Simon Bartholomew says, come on, Russell. And it's a big opportunity for Hamilton and Russell today in quali and in the race tomorrow. Massive opportunity for those guys. Finally, we're back. Finally, we are back, Matty Parker. Welcome to the stream. And yeah, it's been a long summer break. We've been doing a bit of gaming. We've been doing a bit of breaking news. With the Piastri fiasco, but finally we're back with some real track action. Now, the start of qualifying is delayed a little bit. They're repairing a barrier, it looks like at the top of the Kemmel Straight into Lacombe. From what I saw, might not be right, but yeah, so they're repairing the barrier. I don't know how long the delay is going to be. I wouldn't imagine too long, hopefully not. Anyway, Rob to waffle for 30 minutes. It could be. I've done worse. I have done worse, Chris, so I'm up for it. Sign me up. Hello, SHT. Welcome to the stream, mate. Joe's also added to the list of drivers. Yes, I have got him on the list. Bottas, Verstappen, Leclerc, Norris, Ocon, Schumacher, and Zhou Guanyu, all with heavy grid penalties, and they all can't start from the back. You know, they've all their penalties say they're going to start from the back of the grid. Impossible. They can't all start from P20. So, in what order those penalties are applied will be the order of that back of the grid. But though that's like the block of the back seven of the grid is going to be those seven drivers. In what order they're going to be, I don't know. I don't think anybody knows in what order that they're going to be. But put it this way. The big headline really is Verstappen and Leclerc are going to be starting from towards the back, 17th and 18th or 16th and 17th, something like that, or 18th and 19th. You're looking at a Red Bull and a Ferrari starting at the back along with the other names that I mentioned. And so big opportunity for Perez, like I say, big opportunity for Sainz and Mercedes this weekend. 7 cars penalties, yes. Welcoming Ernesto, big opportunity for Alonso. Yeah, Alonso, coming on strong in qualifying, had a great front row start in Canada in the wet. But in general, Fernando's really strong in quali. Alpine, it's a big opportunity for Alpine. But then, Ocon's one of the names on the list. Ocon will start towards the back no matter what. With Leclerc, Verstappen, Norris, Schumacher, Zhou, it's a bit of a shambles. It's a bit of a difficult one to understand how exactly it's going to play out. But I'll try my best to keep you updated. And let's listen what they're talking about, because they might have some information on when the session will actually start, because it was due to start in about 2 or 3 minutes, but they're repairing the barrier, so I do not know. But they're talking about the facelift that the circuit's had, which is very relevant. Yeah, Spa-Francorchamps has undergone a bit of a facelift for the 2022 Grand Prix. One of the biggest, Eau Rouge with the runoff areas has had a big makeover to make it safer as well. A lot more runoff area in Eau Rouge if you get it wrong. They've moved the barrier way back. They've put a huge grandstand as well there at the top of the hill. They've done some art design, some kind of weird Belgian Grand Prix flag, some weird Belgian flag art going up the hill. A little bit strange, not sure if I love that. It'd be a bit confusing. But yeah, they've made a few other changes as well. Turn 9, they've reprofiled. They've got like 2 routes at turn 9. They've got like a motorbike. They've sort of split that corner into 2. You've got a motorbike line and a Grand Prix line. And they've put gravel on the outside of a few of the corners as well at turn 9, and notably on the exit of turn 1, which is a place where a lot of people do run wide at the start of the race. You see them all dive into turn 1, and you always see 3 or 4 cars use that runoff area on the exit of Le Source hairpin turn 1. And that will no longer be an option. They have filled all that runoff area with gravel, as it should be. And if you go wide at turn 1, you might be beached out here. So start of qualifying will be delayed. Track repairs, so I don't know how long this delay is going to be. Welcome to the stream, Anto, as well. Big opportunity for Alonso, at least P5, I reckon, SHC, Look at that floating restaurant there. There's like... That's mad. It's like a restaurant on a crane dangling 50 feet in the air above the circuit. It's a bit of a mad one, that. You wouldn't get me on there. You would not get me on there. But I have seen that before. What? Yeah, so they're repairing the barrier. I think it's at the top of the hill, that, going into Lacombe. I don't know why or what's happened. I've not heard what's happened with that. Whether there's been an incident in Formula 2, one of the other Formula. Oh, it's a Porsche Cup. Okay, now we're seeing the incident that's caused this. Okay, so it's a huge crash in the Porsche Cup, one of the support series that race it, and yeah, slammed into the barrier there. I still can't figure out what part of the circuit that is. My best guess is into Lacombe at the top of the hill, but yeah, big crash in the Porsche Cup, which obviously was half an hour ago or something like that, the race. And yeah, one of the Porsche 911s slamming into the barrier at high speed just before qualifying. So yeah, that's one of the hazards of having all these support races. You might get situations like that. We've had it before where there's been like oil all over the circuit from a support race. An engine's blown up from an F2 car or a Porsche or something, and they've delayed the session that way because there's oil all over the circuit and stuff like that. But yeah, so they're on a bit of a track repair thing. New barriers are being brought in and attached, but I imagine they'll do it pretty quickly. Formula 3, no, it's the Porsche Cup SHT that's caused the damage. Yeah, we've seen a replay of it. Cheers, Ernesto. Cheers, Ernesto. Yeah, the background is definitely better than trying to do a green screen. It was not working out. I gave it a few weeks with the green screen, but it was just not worth it. The lighting's got to be perfect. The flipping. I was watching some of the streams back, seeing how it looked, and I'd have this like bright orange face. The background's like flickering all over the place. I was just looking at it, I was like, no, I need to get rid of this. I need to change it up for the second half of the season. We've had a summer break refresh. Spa-Francorchamps had a summer break refresh, and so has this stream. And we'll get the live timings up as well when the session gets underway. Hopefully they work. That's another thing that's had a full redesign is the live timings. Just showing some of the fans there. Yeah, so there's a few things have had a little bit of a rebrand coming into the second half of the season. Porsche Cup, yeah. I feel like I've missed some of the chat here. I was here for that long one. Oh, there's been a couple of long ones, Chris. There's been there was the delay in Saudi Arabia qualifying when Mick Schumacher had a huge crash, and that was delayed for like an hour. And then the other delay that I've had to deal with is the British Grand Prix, Zhou Guanyu. That was like an hour. In fact, there's been a third one as well, Monaco. Monaco, when it started raining, right before the start of the race, they did a lap or two. They red flagged it, and that was delayed for about an hour. So, I'm a seasoned pro at these delays. And in fact, I need a graphic, don't I, that says delay, you know what I mean? Delay. I could do it right now. But yeah, start qualifying delayed. Hopefully not by long, due to a crash in the Porsche Cup that has damaged one of the barriers on the left-hand side. I think at the top of the hill into Lacombe. I've got to see it. I've got to see a what do you call it? A wide shot. I've got to see a wide shot of where that crash is. But yeah, they're repairing the barrier, and then we'll get qualifying underway ASAP. This weekend's also Perez's last chance to end his slump. Well, it's not his last chance, he's got another 8 races after this, but he could do with ending his slump. Yeah, he's had 2 or 3 races where he's not really been on race winning pace, finishing like 5th, 6th, and things like that. So yeah, big opportunity for Perez. Really, if Sainz or Perez don't win this race, when are they going to win? I know Sainz won the British Grand Prix and Perez won in Monaco, but the point is, they've got to take this opportunity, If they're beaten by Mercedes now, it's big, It just shows that, have they really got that elite level about them? Because, Yeah, this is a big opportunity for Sainz and Perez. The sort of number two drivers in a way. Are the ones that should be starting first and second. In reality, they should have the front row of the grid. Once it all pans itself out, Leclerc might set the fastest lap here today. Verstappen might set the fastest lap here today. But when it all works itself out tomorrow for the race start, in reality, it should be a Perez Sainz front row or a Sainz Perez front row. And if Mercedes can interrupt that, and get in amongst that, it's big. It's big. Mercedes is, have got an opportunity themselves here. And the thing is, with Verstappen and Leclerc starting at the back, I don't think you can write them off, especially Max Verstappen. You can't write him off. He's already won from 10th last time out in Hungary. Starts 10th on the grid, still wins. He's been unstoppable sometimes. In the Spanish Grand Prix, he spun off and won anyway, easily in the end. In Hungary last weekend, not only did he start 10th, he spun round in pirouette, still won. In some races he almost looks unstoppable, and even starting from the back or towards the back in the Belgian Grand Prix this weekend, he might still come through and win. You can't write him off. But the drivers seem to be getting ready now. Balaclava's on, crash helmet's on, so we should be getting underway fairly shortly, I would have thought. But there's no sort of countdown. They're not saying qualifying will start in 5 minutes or anything like that yet. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for a little message coming on screen. Qualifying will start at time. We've not got that yet. Let's go Sainz. Yeah, big opportunity for Sainz. Ernesto, you place for Sainz to get stuck in. Yeah, Skybar. That's what it is, Carl. Yeah, that's what they call it. I've seen it before. I can't remember where. I've seen it in person. I think in Mexico, either at Cancun or I think at Cancun. I've seen that Skybar before. You can get me on that. No chance. Mohammed Ben Sulayem, FIA president. Do you know what? I've never seen him before. I've never seen any interview with him. The big Donnies are there having a look at this barrier now. Hopefully it gets the green light soon. Oh yeah, they're working hard on it. A few marshals getting stuck in. I reckon it should be ready pretty soon. Tightening the bolts, raking the gravel, and on we go. I reckon they're near enough. I reckon they're near enough done this. I reckon we get underway within the next 5 minutes. Yeah. Formula 3 had a nasty crash with a car flip around in it. Oh, I've not watched that. I've not seen that. I saw Formula 2 qualifying yesterday afternoon. That was a bit of a mess, wasn't it? Because it was damp. It was a flipping... That was chaotic. I think I saw Yuri Vips spin at turn 1 and it caused a red flag, and then I went off doing something else. I was like, this is just a carnage. Prediction for the top 10 starting grid? Oh, I don't know. This is my prediction for the race. Hopefully this works. Have we got some wild music playing or anything? No. We shouldn't have any music on. If I do, I apologise. No, yeah, it's cool. But yeah, this is my predictions for the race. I have changed it since Thursday. I had an initial prediction on Thursday, and then I heard about these grid penalties, and now I'm going for this. So I'm going for Sainz to clinch the pole position today. But I've got Lewis with the race pace. I mean, I've overestimated Mercedes, as I always do. I want them to be in the fight. It's more of a prediction with the heart than the head. I want 6 cars to be able to fight for the race win. it's not really been the reality up to now, but you never know. So I am going for the Lewis Hamilton win this weekend. A little bit silly, but it's Madman predictions. Sainz P2, I've gone Russell P3, Verstappen to come from the back and finish fourth to beat Perez, you know. That'd be a big statement, wouldn't it? You know, if Perez starts at the front, Verstappen starts at the back, and Verstappen still beats him, I reckon there's a good chance of that. I've gone Leclerc 6th, Ocon 7th, Norris 8th, Alonso 9th, Vettel 10th. So, Lewis obviously as well with that record of winning a race in every single season he's competed. And without a win so far this season, but he's come very close. He's had, in the last 5 races, 3 third places, and in the last 2 races, 2 back-to-back P2s. Oh, right, so start of qualifying 16:25. So the start of qualifying is in 14 minutes' time. Okay. Yeah, 14 minutes until the start of qualifying. So all in all, it'll be a 25-minute delay. So not too bad. Not too bad. We've dealt with worse on the channel. So yeah, I don't really do a qualifying prediction other than pole position. So I've gone for a Carlos Sainz pole position. I think that's relatively sensible. Or basically, I mean, it's not even a pole position. It's my prediction is basically who's going to start at the front of the grid tomorrow for the race. You know, Verstappen can slap it on pole, but he ain't going to start from pole. So once all the grid penalties take effect, that's what I'm saying, that Sainz at that point will start from the front. Whether he gets pole position today or not is kind of irrelevant. But yeah, it's a weird situation in qualifying today with all these grid penalties. But we'll figure it out. The layout, cheers. Going to real time the flags as well. Yeah, Anto, they've updated the live timings on the website, so if it works, it looks mint. Like it was a bit of a dummy run in practice yesterday with it, and for a while it was like a minute behind. The live timings were a bit behind, and then we pulled the big F5 refresh, and then boom, it was on point, and it looked mint, and I was like, you know, looks a lot better than it did a couple of months ago. And so, yeah, I'll probably just be tweaking the layout from now on. There won't be, like, big wholesale changes now. I like this, and then all that side of the screen will be the live timings when we get underway. And, yeah, it should be decent. It should look decent, because we even got, like, what tyres are on, how many laps have done, sector times, whether in the pits or not, you know. It's a lot better. Starting grid prediction from SHT is Perez Sainz. It's got to be a Perez Sainz front row, on it, really. If it's anything other than a Perez Sainz front row, then they've missed the boat somewhere. Yeah, Hamilton third, Alonso fourth, Russell fifth, Ricciardo, Vettel, Magnussen, Gasly, Stroll. Yeah. Include the grid penalties. Well, that's it, SHT, yeah. With the Carlos Sainz pole, that is after the grid penalties are applied. Because you could literally have a situation where Verstappen and Leclerc set the fastest 2 times in qualifying today, and then subsequently shifted to the back of the grid, and the guy who's qualified third will now get pole position. It's going to be weird. It's going to be weird. I mean, what if Norris pulls a madness and then he's slung to the back? You know? Just as a reminder, the drivers that have the grid penalties and will start towards the back of the grid are Valtteri Bottas, Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, Esteban Ocon, Mick Schumacher, and Zhou Guanyu. All 7 of those drivers will likely make up the last 7 spots on the grid at the end of qualifying. No matter what they do, no matter what time they set, those 7 drivers will likely be the back 7 positions on the grid come the race tomorrow. So if Verstappen slaps it on pole, don't get too excited. You've got to look at who's second. Because you've got to bear in mind Verstappen's going to be slugged to the back, as with Leclerc and the other names. So makes it a little bit confusing, makes it a little bit of a or a little bit like it could be like Leclerc fastest, but he's not going to be fastest kind of a scenario, which is going to be a bit weird. But big opportunity for Mercedes and big opportunity for Sainz and Perez, basically. But yeah, it's going to be a weird one. Look at that picture. It's Coulthard on the beach. Someone in the crowd has got that picture of Coulthard on the beach with his arse out. That's funny, that. Oh, the fans are banter, mate. Funny. Russell to win. I mean, that'd be massive, that. I mean, if Russell beats Hamilton round here, heavy. Qualifying starting in 9 minutes. So yeah, we get underway at 25 past the hour. So we're currently 16 minutes past. So yeah, we're not that far away now from the start. Russell to win. Russell has this. A lot of support for Russell in the chat. And yeah, I quite like George Russell myself. I rate him as as a top tier driver, and he's really taken it to Lewis Hamilton this season. He's new to the team, come on board, and absolutely smashed it. He's been fantastic. I think the British Grand Prix aside, when he was involved in that turn 1 incident. Other than that, he's finishing the top 5 every single race. So unbelievable, really, for George Russell to turn up at Mercedes and be that good. He's still ahead of Lewis Hamilton in the championship as we speak. I think he's 12 points ahead of Hamilton. 7-time world champion and arguably the greatest of all time. And George Russell's come in and matched him. It's been brilliant. Young British driver as well. Obviously, I have that kind of a link to him where it's exciting for the future. But with Lando Norris as well and George Russell, Formula One for Britain, it's in good hands, isn't it? Even when Lewis retires, we've got George and Lando. It's big. We're spoilt for talent at the minute. These new cars, it's going to be interesting to see if there will be dramas coming into turn 1. Well, this is it. And the thing is, about that gravel trap that they've put on the exit of La Source, SHT. You always, like I was saying before, you always get 2 or 3 cars, if not more, running wide on the exit of turn 1, lap 1 in the race. You always get people avoiding incidents and using that runoff area, or, people out braking himself into turn 1, going steaming in, locking up the brakes and everything and going wide and using a massive car park runoff area. Sorry about the camera out of focus. Apologies for that. The camera's got this weird habit. I think I've sorted it. The camera's got this weird habit of trying to focus on the lights. If it keeps going blurry, I'll just switch them off. It's not worth it. Yeah, I'll switch them off. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's got the camera's got this auto focusing where it wants to focus on the lights behind me. But yeah, apologies for that. We'll just switch them off. It's not life, and it's not life changing, is it? Having them lights on. But yeah, another look at the sky bar there, drinking champagne 50 feet in the air above the circuit. I mean, it's a great view. You can't deny it's a great view from up there, but I don't think you get me in there. Nope. Yeah, they're just saying on Sky that new grandstand at Eau Rouge may be the best place in the world to watch Formula One, and I'd agree. Although Although Martin Brundle's spot at the bottom of Eau Rouge there, right next to the barrier, is a position money couldn't buy. It's unbelievable. In fact, I saw a video on Twitter before I come live. It was like Marc Genet, or I think Marc Genet was stood in that spot watching practice yesterday as well. As the cars come, they come at you like 150 mile an hour, and they come right past the barrier, and then you go up Eau Rouge at full chant, just boom, and it's unbelievable. At the bottom of Eau Rouge, on the right hand side, right at the barrier there, is the best place to watch Formula One in the world. Oh, it's unbelievable. I've seen a few videos from that angle. Martin Brundle was there yesterday in practice. Marc Genet was there. Phenomenal. There's also a video somewhere on YouTube of a side-by-side comparison of Formula One cars, the speed they take Eau Rouge, and then like other like sports cars like your Porsches and Ferraris and Lamborghinis and stuff, and they've done a side by side of the speed of an F1 car up Eau Rouge and the speed of like a Ferrari, like a road car, like a Ferrari, Lamborghini road car, whatever, GT cars going up Eau Rouge, and the speed difference is astronomical. It's just in a different league. You know, I can't even describe it. You've got to see that side by side. You know, you see the GT cars and it's like, whoa, you know, 109 mile an hour, and then the F1 car, boom, it's just a different category, mate. You know, sometimes you forget just how fast these cars are. You know, you get used to it over the years. You know, I've been watching this 17, 18 years. You get sort of used to it, and then when you see a comparison to other fast cars, to other, you know, to Lamborghini road cars and stuff, it just doesn't hold a candle to the speed that these guys take. And yeah, so qualifying starting in less than 3 minutes. We're going to finally get underway. But yeah, it's HT. I was off on a bit of a tangent then, but it will be interesting to see what happens at turn one. You know, I was saying they all tend to run wide, but no longer with the gravel on the exit. And I rate that, you know. The gravel has returned to Spa-Francorchamps, and it's good. It's good. Sebastian Vettel to do a madness and win. Yeah. Oh, mate. If Vettel won this race, you know, you're talking about probably the greatest race of all time. You know, if Vettel wins this race in an Aston Martin, you know, we're currently sat 9th in constructors and can maybe scrape a point if everything goes perfectly. You know, if he wins the race, mate, I will be just like, he'll cross the finish line and I'll just be there like that for about an hour, like, what has happened, you know? Someone like Vettel wins. And the thing is, I was saying yesterday in practice, we're overdue a shock winner, you know, an underdog winner. We're overdue that. Or a shock pole position. You know, we had the Alonso front row in Canada. That's about the nearest we've come to a bit of like a shock result this season. So we're overdue it. You know, we're overdue like a cheeky, you know, what could it be? What could be realistic? You know, like Ricciardo pulling out of madness, you know, just reminding everyone that he's still got it, sort of thing. You know, Ricciardo doing something, or I don't know. We're overdue a shock result. I hope we get it this weekend. It would be mega, but you never know. Right, we're starting in less than a minute. Need a lot of DNS for that to happen. Oh, damn right, yeah. If Vettel won, I mean, if Vettel got top 6. It's a big result. Never mind. I mean, if Vettel got on the podium, it'd be one of the greatest drives of all time. Never mind winning. Wouldn't be surprised this race Lewis pulls out something. Yeah, I agree with that, Salty Dog. I think it's or Salty Dog. I agree with that. You know, it's a big opportunity for Lewis, and I have predicted him for the win. Funnily enough, you know, I back it. Anyway, right. Let's get these. Let's see if we can get the timer running. So qualifying about to finally get underway. We're going to get this 18-minute session underway, and then I'll try and get the live timings on. So 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, Q1 has officially begun. I should have that timer on the screen now. I do. Let's move it across to there. And yeah. Oh, that'll do. You don't have to be perfect, does it? But yeah, Q1 is underway. And let's try and get these live timings up. What are we saying? Let's refresh that. Yeah, so I'll just refresh the live timings and try and get them on the screen for you. But yeah, we're 25-minute delayed, but qualifying is underway. First out of the pits is a Williams. I'm not sure which one. I wasn't really looking. And it's Nicholas Latifi. Go Tifi. It's first out of the pits. Already out of Lacombe, coming down the hill into turn 8. And a little lock up of the brakes there. But yeah, let's see if this live timings can work. Yeah, Maddie, drunk if he wins. Right, let's have a go at doing this. That seems like it's on, so let's do this. And hope that everything works out. Smooth as butter. You never know. Yeah. So hopefully the live timings should be alive. Let's see. Let's hope that this live timings is alive and live. But we'll see. Yeah, we've got a purple block there for sector 2, but I'm just going to keep my eye on it for the first couple of minutes just to make sure that it's working. I don't quite trust it yet because it is new. But yeah, we'll see. No way, Anto. Are you joking? No way a Man City 2-0 down. Oh, Anto, if you could be an absolute saint and keep me updated on that. I don't mean to give you a job, Anto, or anybody, but if that's true, I'm not the biggest, I don't claim to be the biggest football fan in the world, but that is interesting. That's interesting. If that's true and City 2-0 down, keep me updated on that. But yeah, Mick Schumacher's out of the pits then and out on circuit. 2-0 down. I don't even know who they're playing. Are they playing like, I swear they're playing like Bournemouth or something. They're really 2-0 down. Wow. This season, mate. I don't know why I'm talking about football, but, that's incredible. Anyway, back to the Formula 1 then. 14 minutes and 45 seconds to go in Q1. It has been delayed by 25 minutes, but we're underway. Mick Schumacher is going to be the first man on a proper flying lap, and he's up Eau Rouge. As a few of the drivers start to come out of the pit. So both Mercedes are out on circuit now, and Kevin Magnussen's out as well, and Sergio Perez. Yep, everyone on the brand new spanking set of soft tyres, it looks like, other than Nicholas Latifi that went out on the mediums. But yeah, interesting. Oh, Crystal Palace, that's right. Wow. Keep me updated on that. Because as a Manchester United fan myself, City being 2-0 down is very interesting. Anyway, Mick Schumacher into Pouan. Suppose you got to say that with a kind of a French accent. But yeah. Mick Schumacher purple in sector 1. Or imagine Haas pull some out of the bag. But the thing is, unfortunately, Mick Schumacher is one of these names on the list for the grid penalty. So I've got to bear all this in mind. I can't get too excited about a great lap by Bottas, doesn't matter. A great lap by Verstappen, doesn't matter. Great lap from Leclerc, doesn't matter. Norris, doesn't matter. Ocon, doesn't matter. Schumacher, doesn't matter. Zhou, doesn't matter, right? So I've got to remember that, could you imagine the irony if like Mick Schumacher slapped it on pole and I'm giving it the shirt round the head, Schumacher on pole, and then I realise that he's going to be starting 19th. It'd be devastating. So I've got to remember this before I start celebrating a flipping Esteban Ocon pole, and then he's slung down to 17th. So yeah, it could be a bit of a confusing one. But yeah, Lewis Hamilton on the outlap then. Go Tiffy master plan. Well, this is it, Williams are free and clear in this session. Neither Williams is on the grid penalty list. We're going to call it the grid penalty list. And neither Williams is on that. So Williams have got a good chance to start at least, 12th and 13th, surely. Williams probably at worst will end up like 12th and 13th on the grid. So, big opportunity. If you're not on that grid penalty list, you've got to be going for top 10, surely. Doesn't matter who you are. Even if you're flipping Lance Stroll or Latifi or something, or you got to be going for top 10 because you ain't on that grid penalty list, and when there's 7 drivers are going to be starting behind you. But Russell goes purple sector 1. I hope the live timings is on it. We'll see how live is live right now. I need to do a bit of a so Verstappen's gone 3rd. I think it is on point, I think it is on point. I need to see someone improve. So I need to see to see how in sync the live timings is with the TV. I just need a reference point here. So we've got Hamilton towards the end of the lap. So Hamilton's going to be coming around Blanchimont any minute now. We've got Perez purple in sector 1. Russell purple in sector 2. 11 minutes to go in this Q1 session. If you don't know, it's all about not being in the bottom 5 and getting through to Q2 is this session. It's Hamilton into the final chicane then. So let's see where his name pops up then. So Lewis Hamilton down in about 14th for the minute then and crosses the line now. Okay. And Russell quickest. So the live timing is bang on. So that's good. So it's Russell, Magnussen, Hamilton, Schumacher, Mercedes, Haas, top 4 at the minute. But Perez beats that and goes almost a second quicker. So we're good. The graphics are good. They're working. It's on. Everyone's on the soft tyres and all the names are moving around. That's what I want to see. Yeah, Leclerc goes P2 then. Norris P3. Remember, Leclerc and Norris both on the engine penalty list. But Carlos Sainz isn't on the engine penalty list and does go quickest then on a 45 flat. Yeah, 12th and 13th, isn't it, SHT? At worst. Verstappen goes quickest on a 44.5, then half a second quicker than Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari. Bottas pops up into the top 10. Trying to let someone through, and it's a lock-up from an AlphaTauri on the outside. I think that's Yuki Tsunoda locking up into turn 1. Yeah, and Russell's complaining that was dangerous from Tsunoda. I mean, was it? I mean, he made a mistake. Was it dangerous for George? It didn't look like it from that angle. But Pierre Gasly goes 7th then. Ricardo as well. The times are starting to tumble now with less than 9 minutes to go in Q1. So we're already halfway through this Q1 session. And it is all about not being in that bottom 5. Even though if you've got the grid penalty, you're going to end up in that bottom 5 anyway. But, I mean, it is what it is. Alpine look quick. They do. Alpine sitting 5th and 6th at the minute. Ocon and Alonso. Put Stroll starting 10th on my prediction. Yeah, I mean, once it all pans itself out, he could easily be in the top 10, yeah. Even, Stroll could qualify 17th and end up starting 9th. This is how it could end up. It's gonna be a bit of a madness today, but We can only try and explain it as we go. George Russell then down the Kemmel straight on another flying lap. Both Mercedes on another flying lap. Stroll in the pits then with 7.5 minutes to go. Interestingly, Williams were looking really quick in practice in Sector 1. I think it was either Latifi or Albon had the fastest first sector in FP3 a couple of hours ago. I think it was Latifi, which just shows me that just tells me that they've gone like proper low downforce settings for the Williams for that straight line speed up the hill towards Lacombe. But the rest of the lap, they struggle a little bit with that kind of a setup. But we'll see where they end up. Williams were actually looking good in practice, and so were Aston Martin. But I feel like when it all pans, when everyone turns up the engines and shows what they're about and shows the real pace, they kind of slide down the order a bit. And that's how it's looking at the minute with, Williams 11th and 17th and Aston Martin 12th and 16th. Yeah, Albon P11 at the minute, so, not the end of the world. Not doing too bad. Russell across the line, but doesn't improve. Neither does Lewis. Well, Lewis improves up to P11, but barely improves. That's not a great sign from Mercedes. That I don't know if they'd made mistakes or whether they're taking the best out of the tyres. Look at how the front wings flexing around on George Russell's Mercedes. That seems too much flexing, that. Yeah, it doesn't seem ideal, that. And the thing is the FIA are very strict about flexible front wings. They'll be having another look at that slow motion replay and going, do we need to up the stress test here? Because those front wings are supposed to be a bit more rigid than that. Mercedes, hello. I know. Mercedes, what's going on, SHT? 10th and 11th, 1.7 seconds off the pace, the pair of them. Work that out. Alfa Romeo aren't on it as well. They're just saying in Sky as well that, yeah, Alfa Romeo 3 seconds off the pace, but both Alfa Romeo's drivers are on the grid penalty list that I'm calling it. So they'll be starting from towards the back of the grid no matter what happens anyway. So are they really giving it full beans? Are they really, really properly going for it? Arguable. This is the case with Alonso starting third at this rate. Yeah. In fact, I would say that's a pretty likely scenario, SHT. I reckon that's a pretty likely scenario. That it ends up something like Sainz, Perez, Alonso, then maybe the two McLarens. I think that would be odds on. Because you've got Verstappen going to the back, Leclerc going to the back, and Ocon going to the back, and Norris going to the back. It could end up. Bloody hell! It could end up Sainz, Perez, Alonso, Ricciardo, top four. Legitimately. That could be the top four. If Mercedes don't improve quickly, you could genuinely end up with a starting grid tomorrow of Sainz, Perez, Alonso, Ricciardo, Hamilton, Russell, something like that. We're flipping mad. You got to remember Ocon and Norris as well. They're big names. It's not just all about Leclerc and Verstappen starting from the back. Ocon and Norris as well. You know, they're guys that are fighting for top 6 on the grid. They're also being slung to the back. That'd be mad. That'd be a hell of a first lap with a starting front 4. Yeah, it would be. I see that being likely, you know, unless Mercedes find more than half a second. You know, they seem to be lacking more than half a second compared to, like, you know, Alonso and Ricciardo. So flipping heck, I don't know what's going on with Mercedes. You know, Hamilton saying in an interview a couple of days ago, we're here to cause havoc, you know, in the second half of the season. Well, the last 9 races. But not causing havoc in 10th and 11th up to now. I was expecting more pace with 2 minutes to go in Q1. And the bottom 5 as it stands then is Stroll, Latifi, Schumacher. It's just gone off the screen. Stroll, Latifi, Schumacher, Zhou and Bottas in the bottom 5 at the moment. But yeah, with Stroll and Latifi not being on the grid penalty list, they'll eventually move up. Even if they get knocked out now in Q1, Stroll and Latifi will automatically get promoted when the grid penalties come in for the other guys. So, but for Schumacher, Zhou and Bottas, if they remain bottom 3, they're going to be starting around the bottom 3. Yeah, imagine Alonso Ricciardo made a good start and took the lead. That's what I'm saying. Flipping. You wouldn't, you know, Alonso could lead into turn 1 if he starts from 3rd. Oh, damn right. Oh, then you're in for a hell of a race, isn't it? If Alonso leads into turn 1, we're in for a heck of a Belgian Grand Prix. But it's a long way to go before we get there. Let's get through qualifying first. I might be jumping ahead 24 hours on that one, but let's see what happens. But at the moment, Alpine looking stronger than Mercedes, you know. First season front 4 since Qatar last season. Yeah. Qatar, yeah, they raced at Qatar, didn't they, last year? I even remember that. Like, I know that happened, but did anything of note happen at that race? They've been Qatar, yeah, they did, didn't they? Gee, what was that track called? Lacello or something like that. Anyway, we know about Spa-Francorchamps anyway. Latifi goes 13th then, so we're on board with Lance Stroll round the final corner then. Go on then, Stroll. Gets out the bottom 5 then, up to P10 for Lance Stroll. So this is the end of Q1. These are the laps that really matter. Mick Schumacher gets out of Q1. Yeah, he's got penalties to come. Here comes Valtteri Bottas. Goes, flipping Zhou Guanyu goes 7th. Well, Bottas has give it up as a bad job. So Bottas didn't even finish the lap. Flipping Zhou Guanyu's popped up as 7th. I mean, he's going to be starting at the back anyway. Vettel goes 15th. So Vettel's through just at the moment. Oh, and there's a big lock-up from Yuki Tsunoda in the final corner. So Tsunoda's messed it up. He's 19th for the moment, and he's not on the grid penalty list, Tsunoda, so he'll get promoted up anyway. But he's had a bit of a shambles. Here comes Lewis Hamilton then to the final chicane. They could do with showing a bit more pace, Mercedes. His personal best, sector 1 and 2 for Hamilton and Russell. But here he comes across the line then. Lewis Hamilton goes to 5th. Decent. Much better pace. 45.7. With the track starting to rubber in now as Russell beats that then, or 45.6. So, but Albon splits the Mercedes. Albon quick. Wow. Albon goes P6, a second off the pace, along with Russell and Hamilton. What? Wow. Alexander Albon, take a bow. Up in a P6. So, knocked out is Sebastian Vettel P16, Nicholas Latifi P17, Kevin Magnussen P18, Yuki Tsunoda P19, and Valtteri Bottas P20. Now, out of those drivers, Vettel, Latifi, and Magnussen, and Tsunoda, so 4 out of those bottom 5 are not on the grid penalty list. So Vettel, Latifi, Magnussen, Tsunoda will end up starting much higher than 16, 17, 18, 19, basically, because everyone apart from Bottas that's got through to Q2, 6 out of the 7 drivers with penalties have all got through to Q2, which is, I wouldn't have expected that. But yeah, Schumacher through, but will move back. Zhou Guanyu through, but will move back. Norris through, but will move back. Ocon through, but will move back. Leclerc through, but he'll move back, and Verstappen through. So yeah, so even though Vettel, Latifi, Magnussen, and Tsunoda are out, they'll end up starting mid-pack. Nice and simple this weekend, isn't it? It's nice, and I love it when it's nice and simple. Yo. I'm glad that they're not even like, they're not. Maybe should take a leaf out of Sky Sports book. They're not even bothering to try and explain it. They're just like, they're not even going down that road of trying to. Maybe that's the way in it. Explain it at the end when it's all said and done. Ricardo's lap is being deleted. Is that right? Is that right? Yeah, Magnussen out as well, Tsunoda, yeah. Going to be a lot of overtakes at the back of the pack first lap. Oh, yeah, mate, because there's going to be fast cars at the back. You know, you've got a Red Bull, a Ferrari, a McLaren, and an Alpine all at the back. So, yeah, it's going to be made for an exciting race anyway, no matter what. You know, even if it's hard to explain, it's going to make for an exciting race with that pack coming through. 5-0 Liverpool. Are they the ones playing Bournemouth? 5-0 Liverpool. Wow. And Man City 2. And Man City's still 2-0 down, Anto. I don't often ask for football updates, but Man City being 2-0 down. Really? In fact, let me have a little look. I'm going to have a little look. Because we're in between sessions here. Oh, wait there. It's at half time, innit? I'm having a look at the football scores in between sessions here. Now we'll go back to the F1. They're on about flipping championship game or something. I'm not bothered. But yeah, still 2 down. Wow, Anto. Right, let's get the timer ready. Yeah, so Q2 starts in a minute and a half. Let me get the timer on the driller. Oh, where is it? Here he is. 15 minutes. Yeah, Q2's going to be a 15-minute session. It's a World Cup year, so even as Americans are watching more. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge football fan, really. But I'm a Manchester United fan, so naturally I dislike Manchester City. So hearing that they're 2-0 down is, my ears are pricked up and go, hey? You know what I mean? It's like a meerkat going, what, Man City 2-0 down? All of a sudden I'm interested. Just kind of... It is what it is. They'll probably end up winning 3-2, you know what I mean? But anyway, it is what it is. Q2 starting in 30 seconds. F2 on. Flash scores on the phone. Yeah, that's the way, innit? Flash scores. Albon starting top 10. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Albon will be top 10. Like, no matter what, innit? It's weird, innit? How it's going to work out. Sonoda out, yeah, Sonoda out SHT. He locked up going into the final chicane, and he's making a few mistakes, isn't he? Was it you that asked me? Someone asked me. Hang on. If Sonoda's seat's in danger, I feel like the session's underway. Is it not? I might have started the timer a little bit too soon, but if I have, I have. But yeah, let's get the live timings. Okay, so, oh no, I'm about right. Yeah, so Lewis Hamilton out the first out of the pits then for Q2. Albon beating AlphaTauri, Aston Martin, Hassan, yeah. He has. Well, I know, Alexander Albon, mate, he's pulling out of the bag. Underrated driver. But yeah, everyone's piling out of the pits now. Coming up Eau Rouge, up the Kemmel Straight for Q2. No rain so far today either. I think I've not heard much about rain, so I think we're in for a dry session all the way through. And supposedly a dry race as well tomorrow. We had a bit of rain during practice yesterday, but just a couple of showers, nothing major. And to be honest, a dry race in Belgium would be a bit refreshing. Especially after last season, there wasn't a race last season here. It was just a washout. So yeah, they've effectively not really had a Belgian Grand Prix for a couple of years, because last year wasn't a race. So yeah, Charles Leclerc looking to come out of the pits any minute now. Yeah, Hamilton first one across the line then to start a flying lap in Q2. Hopefully the live timings are oh yeah, I think it's the live timings are on, so that's good. We'll be doing all right there. Oh, do you know what I need to do? Actually, that still says Q1. I will. That should say Q2. Just a little detail, but sort of important. Oh, come on. Why is it lagging that much? Q2. Get that right. There we go. Get this timers back up. There we are. Right, yeah, so now it says Q2 12 minutes ago instead of doing Q1 twice. That wouldn't be the one, would it? Verstappen straight away quicker than both Mercedes in Sector 1, as we would expect. We're watching Lewis Hamilton in the final sector now, heading towards Blanchimont. Verstappen about to cross the timing beam for the middle sector. I assume that Verstappen is going to go purple middle sector, but it's Lewis Hamilton out of the final chicane now, to the first one to set a representative lap time, and it's a 46.6. Russell to the line. Russell beats it then at 46.2, so goes 0.3 of a second quicker. I feel like the live timings might need a refresh here. Verstappen goes quickest. Sainz goes P2. Perez goes P2. Yeah, no, it's well behind. And I'll refresh it. Yeah, bear with me whilst I just refresh the live timings. They're obviously A good 20 seconds behind there. It is what it is. In between sessions, it's obviously messed up a little bit, but we're on board at the moment. Helmet camera with Alexander Albon. At the moment, it's Verstappen, Perez, Sainz top three, Norris fourth, Ocon goes fourth then. 9 minutes and 40 seconds to go in Q2. I'm just refreshing this. It should be on screen pretty soon. Let's have a go at that then. Let's have a look, see if that's up to date. So yeah, Albon goes P10 with that 2 seconds off the pace. And let's hope that this now is fully live. So Leclerc personal best first and middle sector, but nowhere near Verstappen's time. And Leclerc coming up to the back of Carlos Sainz here. They're going to let him through. Obviously, Sainz the one who's really going for pole today. Leclerc can do all he wants, but he'll be starting from towards the back of the grid. Whoa, drifting round the final chicane, Charles Leclerc. Gasly looking good, yes. Leclerc goes P6 then. Gasly is 9th at the minute, a second and a half off the pace. So Russell's a second and a half off the pace. Hamilton's 1.9 off the pace. Verstappen and Perez very evenly matched at the front. What is the gap? 71 thousandths of a second between Verstappen and Perez, 1 and 2. Maybe Perez had beat Verstappen fair and square anyway today. Whether Verstappen gets a penalty or not, I feel like Perez is looking quick this weekend, regardless. Jackie Hicks, 8-time race winner, 1966 to 79. Yeah, look at the oversteer in the bus stop chicane. I don't even know if they call it the bus stop chicane anymore. They used to years ago. It might just be called the final chicane now. I don't even know. I mean, I heard Anthony Davidson just calling it turn 18 and turn 19. So, yeah, the car is jumping crazy on the apex of slow corners. Is that the suspension too stiff for Charles Leclerc, complaining about the car jumping around on the curbs? I don't know. Guys looking good here. Did you realise Danny Rick is still not out yet? Well, still not out of the pits? You're right. Oh, I didn't notice that. But yeah, Daniel Ricciardo is not even set a time yet. And Ricciardo's not one of the names on the grid penalty list. So Ricciardo stands to, stands to be promoted a few positions today. Big opportunity for Daniel Ricciardo really to start in the top 4, top 5 here. But he's obviously they've got to get the car out of the garage and he's got to set a lap time. I don't know what's gone on, but he's just sat there waiting. Maybe it's strategic. Doesn't look like the car's got a problem. Maybe that's the strategy they've gone for. Just sort of 1 or 2 runs at the end of Q2. Maybe he burnt through a couple of sets of tyres in Q1, and so it's had a knock-on effect. And he's only going out at the end of the session, Daniel Ricciardo. But yeah, big opportunity for him to start in the top 4, top 5 today, as well as Alonso. Pierre Gasly. Can Pierre Gasly do something and start in the top 5? Can if you're in one of those cars that's Gasly. If Gasly can beat the Mercedes, he'd be starting right towards the front of the grid, as will Alonso, Ricciardo. I think you've got to look out for those 3, really. Alonso, Ricciardo, Gasly. Let's see where they end up. Because they could start the top 4, top 5 with a perfect lap. The Red Bulls look good. The only car that looks good so far. Yeah, I mean the Ferraris look quick on occasion. Carlos Sainz as I'd still maybe back in for pole still, Carlos Sainz, but Perez looking good. Perez is looking good on a 44.8 there. He's a good 6 tenths of a second quicker than Sainz at the minute. But it's only Q2, Q3 to come. This session ends in 4.5 minutes. The Red Bulls look good in the car. Big latest news: an hour ago, Pierre Gasly reported to under consideration for a 2023 Alpine seat. Well, this is the thing is, they'll have to tear up contracts if that happens. That'd be a good lineup, that Ocon Gasly, but Pierre Gasly's already signed up with AlphaTauri, so they'll have to tear that contract up, won't they? And I said in a video a few months ago that Gasly signed too soon with AlphaTauri. But if there's a way out of it for him, if Alpine want him and he can get a way out of that contract, then it's probably in his best interest to do that and go to Alpine. I feel like Gasly's a better prospect than Daniel Ricciardo for Alpine. I think if I'm Alpine boss, and I've got options on the table, I could take Mick Schumacher, I could take Pierre Gasly, I could take Daniel Ricciardo. I probably would go Pierre Gasly, actually. I probably would. I probably would pay AlphaTauri a significant amount of money and get Pierre Gasly, yeah. It's a good choice. That. Or, personally, I would love to see Mick Schumacher get the Alpine seat. It's not really realistic. Yeah, Pierre Gasly would be a good option for Alpine. And it'd be great for Pierre Gasly as well. He's been stuck, really. He's been stuck in the AlphaTauri team since being demoted by Red Bull a few years ago. He's sort of been stuck in the AlphaTauri. It'd be good for him to go to a fully fledged Renault Works team, which pretty much is what Alpine is. It's a Renault Works team, big team, big budget, big hopes, on the up. It'd be great for Gasly's career, because now Gasly's got to be like 25, 26. He's not just a young kid anymore, 21 new on the scene. He's had a few years in the sport now, Pierre Gasly. I hope he does get a big break. Deserves it. Even though he's struggled this year, AlphaTauri struggled this year. But I think Pierre Gasly's shown enough over the last 2 or 3 seasons to prove that he's one of the top guys. So yeah, I back that. It'd be a good decision if they manage to buy him out or get if he can get out of the AlphaTauri contract, then he should do. Yeah. But it's a weird one because the other day I'd have said Ricardo no chance going back to Alpine. The other day I would have said no, he won't go back there. It's like going back to an ex. Blah blah blah. But now, having heard some of the interviews this weekend on the TV, and having heard what Otmar's saying, heard what Daniel's saying, and I'm sort of thinking, will Ricardo go back to Alpine? It sort of seems a bit more likely from what the on Sky they asked Ricardo straight out, would you go back to Alpine? You just went yes. Like it's not like been there, done that, not really feeling it. He's well up for it. And I think Alpine might look at Daniel Ricciardo and think he's got the experience. We've had him before. We know him. He's had a bad couple of years, but he's still got the potential in him. I can now see a scenario that Daniel Ricciardo does go back to that team. Weirdly enough, I know I never would have said that a week ago. But yeah, anyway, we're getting towards the end of this Q2 session. I've been on a tangent waffling on, but we are 40 seconds away from the end of Q2. In the bottom 5 at the moment then is Alexander Albon, Zhou Guanyu, Lance Stroll, Mick Schumacher and Daniel Ricciardo. Zhou and Schumacher have the grid penalties anyway. Ocon still wants to get into Q3 and yeah, Daniel Ricciardo's out on circuit. So yeah, everyone's going to get just about one more lap in. in this Q2 session. We're on board with Fernando Alonso. Cut to Sergio Perez's Red Bull in the garage, and so they're on a bit of a panic mode. But it's okay because Perez is easily through anyway. But could that be a worry for Q3 for Perez? Working on that Red Bull frantically as we see Fernando Alonso with just the bus stop chicane left to go. And he's currently P7 is Fernando Alonso. Through at the moment, but could do with improving if he can. Albon purple sector 1. You are correct. It is Alexander Albon purple sector 1. As he did in practice before. Alonso improves then to P5. That should be enough to get through, I would think. Pierre Gasly goes P8 then, so they're all going to cross the line now. Zhou Guanyu goes P9. He's got grid penalties to come, but great lap from Zhou Guanyu. Here comes Lance Stroll out of the final corner. DRS, go on then, Lance. P11, but he'll get promoted from there. He'll start in the top 10 with Lance Stroll. Here comes Daniel Ricciardo in the final corner. Leclerc goes quickest by nearly 2/10. Here comes Daniel Ricciardo to the line. Then needs a lap. Bang! P8, Daniel Ricciardo. Nice lap. Right behind his teammate Lando Norris, who's got the grid penalty to come. So Ricciardo through to Q3 as it stands right now. But Hamilton goes 5th. Russell goes 6th then. So the Mercedes coming on strong at the end of the session. And Albon beats Ricciardo. So Ricciardo out. Albon beats Daniel Ricciardo. Albon through to Q3. Daniel Ricciardo out. Wow. Big lap from Alexander Albon. So through to Q3 is Leclerc, Verstappen, Perez, Sainz, Hamilton, Russell, Ocon, Alonso, Norris and Alexander Albon. Knocked out then in the elimination zone is Daniel Ricciardo, P11. He'll get promoted from there. He'll start in the top 10 anyway. But it won't be that P3, P4 start that we hoped for Daniel Ricciardo. He'll probably start about 7th or 8th. So yeah, Ricciardo knocked out 11th. Gasly 12th. Zhou Guanyu 13th. Lance Stroll 14th. And Mick Schumacher 15th. That'll all shuffle round when the grid penalties take effect. But yeah, it's not the second row start that I was hoping for Daniel Ricciardo. That. No way. Albon top 6. That's right, isn't it? You're right. You are right. Albon top 6 because there's 4 drivers in front of him. There's 4 drivers in that top 10 that have all got to go back. Verstappen, Leclerc, Ocon, Norris are all ahead of him, and we'll all go. Albon top 6 on the grid, correct? Wow. At minimum, if he starts beating Mercedes, wow, Albon, yeah. I mean, Daniel Ricciardo, it's a missed opportunity there, you know. On a weekend where he'd be hoping to sort of hit back and say to McLaren, you know, to sort of make a statement. He's not really made a statement there, being beaten by Alexander Albon. And a little bit disappointing for Daniel Ricciardo. Really, he should be starting on the second row with Alonso. Alonso's still in as well. Alonso could start P3, you know. Mercedes with a decent enough laps at the end. They're still, 7/10 and 9/10 off the pace. Yeah, Mercedes aren't really in the... Mercedes aren't in that Red Bull Ferrari fight yet, are they? I wonder if they'll start looking at 2023 now, Mercedes. I think they, you know, if they come back after the summer break and they're still 7/10 off the pace, you know, if you Mercedes looking at this, you know, if you're Mercedes, you're one of the Mercedes big cheeses. You know, back in the offices, you're looking at this and you're probably going, let's put the focus on 2023 now. You're not caught up by now. You know, I'd say let's focus on 2020. But I hope they don't though. Hope they keep focusing on this season and catch up to the point where you've got 6 cars fighting for the race win. But Q3 will start at 13 minutes past. Yeah, so Q3 will start in 3 minutes. This is all because the qualifying got delayed, and so it's had a knock-on effect. In fact, let me change. Yeah, they're just saying that what you said on SHT, that Albon will be at worst 6th on the grid. Fantastic. Wow. Right, let's change this so it says Q3 before the session actually starts. That'll be handy. Russell could get P2 and Russell P3. Yeah. I mean, it depends if they beat... I mean, really, Mercedes should be lining up 3rd and 4th in this race. Whether they will, Alonso could upset that party. So could Pierre Gasly upset that party. But I mean, really, you're looking at probably Perez, Sainz, and then the 2 Mercedes 3rd and 4th now. That seems to be the developing scenario as we head into Q3 in a couple of minutes' time. But I'd love to see someone upset that. What can Alex do? What can Fernando do? What can Pierre do? So yeah, Q3 going to be starting soon. Yeah. The thing is, for Russell and Hamilton to start 2nd and 3rd, that means that they both beat a Red Bull or they both beat a Ferrari, and I don't see that happening, to be honest with you, unless they mess it up. Unless Sainz messes it up or Perez messes it up. I think the best Mercedes can get out of this will be 3rd and 4th on the grid. Any better than that is what a lap kind of a scenario. But can Alonso get in the mix? Is Alonso quicker than the Mercedes? Maybe. Alonso can start 3rd here. And then we're in for a race because Alonso's probably the best at the start, better than anybody on a lap 1 scenario. So Q3 started. Let me get the timer up. I'll put what is it? 11 minutes and what should we put on the clock here? 11 minutes. There we go. 11 and a half minutes to go. Oh, why has that moved? There we go. There we go then. So hopefully the live timings work. Yeah, Albon out, Perez out of the pits, Albon out of the pits. Wow. So this is it then, the big session, the pole position showdown. Q3. Alexander Albon for pole, anybody? Alonso did his thing once again, potentially starting for P5, yeah. Can he beat a Mercedes? So yeah, everyone just out of the pits on the outlap then for this Q3 session pole position shootout. So come on, who's going to get pole then, chat? Come on. Let's have your predictions now. Last chance to get your predictions in. I'll stick with I'll stick with science. I'll stick with science. I think when push comes to shove, I think Ferrari might pull something. Although it might be Verstappen that actually sets the fastest lap. Well, let's see. Let's see. But I'll stick with Carlos Sainz for pole position tomorrow. Well, it's not even pole position, is it? I'll stick with Carlos Sainz to start from the front of the grid tomorrow. I'm going to put it that way. Is Sergio Perez on a flying lap then? Yeah, Perez. Yeah, I think Perez is a good shout. Perez, Sainz, Russell, Hamilton, Alonso, Albon, Ocon seems to be most likely now. Yeah, it does. It does. Perez, Sainz, yeah, Russell, Hamilton, Alonso, Albon. Yeah, that does seem the most likely. Although Ocon would be moved back because he's on the list. Yeah, Ocon is starting far back, so Ocon wouldn't be up there in the top 6 or 7. He'd be like 15th or 16th or something like that. So anyway, here we go then. Verstappen quicker than Perez in sector 1 then. 8 minutes 20 seconds to go in Q3. Now it starts to get real. These are the real laps. Love to see Alonso pulling madness out of the bag. Albon P1, let's go. Yeah, Ocon's on the list. He is, unfortunately. Albon on a 46.3. Go on then, Alex. Here's Sergio Perez into the final chicane then. Ooh, a little bit of drifting. Coming out of the final corner. And Perez does a 44.4. So 1.9 seconds quicker than Albon is. Verstappen to the line then. So Verstappen beats that by 0.8 of a second. Wow. It's either a great lap from Verstappen or a poor one from Perez, or combination of the two. But Verstappen on a 43.6, Sainz across the line and on 0.6 of a second slower than in P2. Here comes Esteban Ocon to the line, then goes P4 on a 45.1. A second and a half off the pace. Hamilton slower than Albon, so Hamilton not really pushing on that lap. Something went wrong there. Russell does a 46.2, 2.5 seconds off the pace. So I wonder if Mercedes are doing 2 warm-up laps. I feel like if you're 2.5 seconds, 2.9 seconds off the pace, that can't be right, can it? It can't be that slow. Alonso surrendered the lap. Yeah. Alonso's not set a time yet, neither is Leclerc. 6.5 minutes to go. Yeah, we are going to get a mixed up grid. Yeah, it's going to make for an exciting Grand Prix tomorrow. There's no doubt about that. This is going to really shuffle the grid this tomorrow. Mercedes had a problem getting tyres up to 10. I feel like they have, yeah. I feel like there's some truth in that, yeah. I wonder if Mercedes are on a different kind of a routine here in qualifying. Maybe they're doing back-to-back push laps. I don't know. I don't know what's happening with Mercedes, but 2.5 and 2.8 seconds off the pace. You know, I know they're not on Ferrari and Red Bull pace, but that seems way off. It's way off. Too bad to be true, if that's ever been said before. You've heard of too good to be true. Mercedes being 2.8 seconds off the pace seems too bad to be true. Something's gone wrong there. Albon P3, imagine. Or P4. You know, Albon at the minute splits the Mercs. I mean, here's Leclerc then, round the final corner. And to the line then, Charles Leclerc goes P4. So at the moment it's Verstappen, Sainz, Perez, Leclerc. But once Verstappen and Leclerc are removed, it would make it Sainz, Perez front row at the moment, as it stands, with 4 minutes and 50 seconds to go. If that makes any sense. I think Alonso will go even faster later. Well, this is it. So do I. I think Alonso can pull something out here. Beating Albon at least. Yeah, beating Albon at least. Surely, yeah. This is weird, this, because 4 of these drivers are all moving back. 4 out of 10 of these drivers won't be starting in the top 10. Very strange. We are for a replay of Max Verstappen up Eau Rouge. The Kemmel straight. Yeah, it looked quite a smooth lap from Max Verstappen, who sits fastest at the moment. But as you know, he will not start this race from pole position tomorrow. But he is the fastest man on circuit as we speak. Oh, Perez track limits turn 4, they're saying. Will Perez have his lap deleted? Potentially. 3 minutes to go, and most people still sat in the garage. 7-0 Liverpool. Liverpool back with a bang. Wow, Bournemouth have crumbled. So yeah, we've still got 9 guys in the pits with 2 minutes 40 to go, and here everyone comes out now. Albon's out on circuit, joined by everybody else now. So this is your final. This is it then for qualifying. These are going to be the final laps now. These next 2.5 minutes is where it all counts. It's a crazy stat. Bottas out in Q1 for the first time since Monaco 2015. Yeah, they were saying that. In fact, Bottas had a huge run of being in Q3, didn't he? For like 5 years of being in Q3 every time, and that was broken this season as well. And Bottas out in Q1 for the first time since 2015. That is a stat, that. You know, that means like in 2016 in his Williams, he was still getting out of Q1 every week. So fair play. Just going for a nice day out. Oh, nice one, Sean. Oh yeah, you've been with your family, hasn't it? But yeah, I'm good, bro. We're about to get the final laps of qualifying here. For pole position, 1 minute 10 seconds to go in qualifying. And that was when he was at Williams as well. Yeah, they're all queuing up here for the final laps. And it's all getting a bit leery. Sainz and Alonso almost colliding there, trying to set himself up for the final. Yeah, look at them all queuing up here. This is going to end in disaster if they don't sort it out now. Yeah, they've got to find space for themselves. And the thing is, they're coming up to the last chicane now. They need to space themselves out. This is a shambles, this. 35 seconds to go. So they've got to start this final lap now. I tell you, it's a bit of a mess, this. On board with Carlos Sainz. He's going to be the first one to start the flying lap then. 20 seconds to go in Q3. This is it then. These are the final laps. You always join at the end. Hey, you know, you're here for the important part, which is who's going to get pole position for the Belgian Grand Prix. That's what matters. The two Ferraris. Oh, so Leclerc giving Sainz the slipstream up the Kemmel straight. Team strategy coming into play here. Oh, it's perfect. Leclerc, Sainz gets the slipstream all the way up the hill then, because Leclerc just a sacrificial lamb. He's not in contention for pole position, so he's give Sainz the perfect chance. And the thing is, Sainz is still yellow. He's not even personal best, Carlos Sainz, in Sector 1, despite the slipstream. Coming down the hill then to Pouon. 170-mile-an-hour corner, chucks it in, full throttle, little bit of a correction on the exit curve. Wow, incredible grip. Wow, Alonso looking quick. Oh, Sainz on the gravel. Sainz too wide there, dipping a couple of wheels on the gravel, and as he brought stones onto the circuit, as we see Fernando Alonso with the oversteer. Go on, Fernando. I'd love Fernando to pull out a lap from the gods here. Alonso can get a cup. Alonso can get a second row start here if he pulls together a perfect lap. Here comes Carlos Sainz, and he's going to be first one across the line of the leaders. So it's Sainz out of the final corner. He ain't going to improve, but he's still going to be on provisional pole as it is. So Sainz doesn't improve, but he'll still be on pole for now. Here comes Fernando Alonso, who goes up to P6, which will become P3. Alonso beats Hamilton. So Alonso ahead of Hamilton. Alonso ahead of both Mercedes. Alonso's going to be promoted up to about third. It's Sainz. It's going to end up Sainz, Perez, Alonso, Hamilton, Russell, Albon. Wow. So Verstappen was fastest on the day, but he's got the grid penalty. Yeah, it's all good. Wow. Alonso, Hamilton, row 2 of the grid. Mate, yeah, it's going to be... Yeah, Sainz just goes a bit wide, but still gets away with it, and still is going to start this race from the front. So yeah, it's going to be Sainz, Perez, Alonso, Hamilton, Russell, Albon, top 6 on the grid for the Belgian Grand Prix tomorrow, when all the grid penalties have come into effect. What a grid that is. Yeah, Alonso going to be third, because flipping Verstappen's going to be moved to the back. Leclerc's going to be moved to the back. Ocon's going to be moved to the back. Flipping heck, mate. I mean, it's hard to grasp the grid order, but it is going to be Sainz, Perez, Alonso, Hamilton, Russell, Albon. I mean, Albon P6. Let's go. Yeah, front row for Sergio Perez. He'll be wishing he beat Carlos Sainz, with Sainz even making a mistake and still not being beaten by Perez and the rest of them. But yeah, Verstappen fastest on the day, but with an engine penalty. We've got an interesting grid for tomorrow. It's a bit off with the picks. Yeah, I mean, it's about right. Once you realise sort of the pace of everyone, it was sort of makes sense, the grid. But Alonso to beat the Mercedes is that's the big one. That's the big one. Alonso will start the Belgian Grand Prix from third, and he might do a full send into turn 1. You know, if Alonso gets a great start tomorrow and does the full send, mate, we are in for a great race tomorrow. Either way, you know, with Verstappen, Leclerc, I mean, look at this list. At the back of the grid is going to be Verstappen, Leclerc, Norris, Ocon, as well as Bottas, Schumacher, and Zhou Guanyu, all at the back, coming through the field tomorrow. Ferrari, Red Bull, McLaren, and Alpine all fighting the way through. It's going to be a hell of a race. But yeah, that was qualifying, and yeah, Fernando Alonso P3 on the grid. Right. That's about it from me for today. join me tomorrow. I'll be live from 1:30. The race starting at 2 o'clock, but I thought I'd go live a little bit before the race tomorrow, because it gives people a chance to find the stream. If I just start the stream like 5 minutes before the race, it doesn't really give people a chance to find the stream before the race starts. You know, people tend to join like halfway through and stuff, whereas if I go live half an hour before, I give myself a chance for people to come in. So yeah, we'll go live at 1:30 tomorrow for a 2 o'clock start for the Belgian Grand Prix. Please do join me for that one. If you have enjoyed the stream, please do drop me a like on this. Great qualifying session, and Sainz, Perez, Alonso, Hamilton top 4, Russell, Albon in the top 6. Difficult to understand with all the grid penalties, but thank you for joining me, and see you tomorrow for the Belgian Grand Prix. Max to start 15, yeah. But peace out, guys. Join me tomorrow. Please do drop a like, and if you are a Formula 1 fan, get yourself subscribed. You know, I'm live every single quali and every single Grand Prix from the Formula 1 World Championship. See you tomorrow, guys, for the Belgian Grand Prix. Formula 1 is back.